Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome all of you back to another Rage video, where tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I actually have forgotten something. I need to actually grab something from my closets, just in 2 seconds, because I didn't know why I didn't think to get it out for the purposes of tonight's video, and it's still in the covering as well. It was something that my brother-in-law actually got me for Christmas, an actual copy of Death Magnetic, produced by Rick Rubin. I'm guessing maybe Bob Rock was gone by this point. How funny is that? Anyways, there we are, Death Magnetic. Now, this album, curiously, I have a bit of an interesting history with this album. To start with, back during my first run of doing YouTube videos, I did this album pretty much at the exact same time, well, in early January. And when I say early January, we're talking about 3rd or 4th. And for the benefit of those who care, or anything at all about the order in which I do these videos, I'm actually recording this video on the 1st of January of 2026. You never know where stuff like that might come in handy, guys. Always good to know where you are and what you're doing and stuff like that. Make easier for the narrative. So, anyway, the point was that I was already sawing through a lot of Metallica albums at the time, and when I finished doing Load, Reload, and then I even finished doing Saint Anger, which I'm gonna be revisiting Saint Anger anyway, and it'll be interesting to see whether or not my thoughts have really changed about Saint Anger, because it's, for the most part, Saint Anger has a lot of problems, but there is quite a lot of good things, but for the most part, they're kind of drowned out by all the irritating little things. Because I have no idea if this was a trend that continued in Death Magnetic. Now, that might be more superseded by a slightly more pertinent question as to whether or not Death Magnetic was any good, or whether or not it's just one of those, you're going to listen to it once, but you have no compunction whatsoever to listen to it ever again. Now, interestingly enough, the reason why we're doing this again after 7 years is because, guess what? I think enough time has passed where actually looking at this with a fresher pair of spectacles, also these, it means that perhaps we can judge this album a little bit, not so much on face value, but whether or not there's things to come back to. Because the only other memory I do have about Death Magnetic is that I think there's 2 songs that I think stick out for all the right reasons. I think it's The Day That Never Comes, but curiously enough, I do generally believe the best song on Death Magnetic is the last song, My Apocalypse. Because I certainly remembered describing that song as well. I think we'll get to that when we come to it. But in the meantime, let's pay a reunion, if you will, to Death Magnetic. Because I don't know about you guys, because I'm actually looking forward to this. Because also, you can't really go wrong with Metallica some of the time. Because, I mean, 72 seasons, I still have really, really good memories about that. I'm not too sure if everybody else does, however, but I thought it was a great album from start to finish. But this is not 2023 or even 2025. This is 2008 we're going back to. This is back when Rockstar Games still cared about the GTA series, and Wii Sports was still the most played video game of all time. So let's go.
place. I stitched them up, see not my fall from grace. I blind my eyes, I hide a feeling passing me by. I open just in time to say goodbye. Almost like your life, almost like your endless fight. Curse the day is long. Realize you don't belong. Disconnect somehow. Never stop the bleeding now. Almost like your fight, and there it went. Almost like your life. Like a wound that keeps on bleeding to remind me not to blink. Like a raging river drowning when I only need a drink. Like a poison that I swallow, but I want the world to die. Like a release from a prison that I didn't know I was in. Like a fight to live the past I bring to leave from way back then. Like a general without a mission until the war will start again. Start again. I blind my eyes and try and force it all into place. I stitch them up, see not my fall from grace. I blind my eyes, I hide a feeling passing me by. I open just in time to say goodbye. Almost like your life, almost like your endless fight. Curse the day is long. Realize you don't belong. Disconnect somehow. Never stop the bleeding now. Almost like your fight. And there it went. Almost like your life.
Ooh. Realize you don't belong. Whew. You know, I'll certainly give Metallica this much, is that, yeah, you know what, the more I think about it, yeah, after 7 years, I am beginning to start to say, I think this is where we sort of straight up, in my opinion, I think this is where the worm has finally turned. And you know why? I think I know exactly why that is. This is the sort of song that I think absolutely Metallica would love doing. And you know what kind of song that is, ladies and gentlemen? I'll tell you exactly what it is. Something they can play in front of a live audience. This might be very, 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 a bit of a strange take, but I do genuinely believe that if they played this live, the whole stadium would come unglued. It's fast, and it is constant, and it is a lot of themes of death, carnage, destruction, violence. These are concepts that are not unbound and not unknown to Metallica since all the way back to Kill 'Em All. And I think also stuff like this has a retrospective effect. That was just your life. Your life is full of probably bad choices, violence, disconnection, and you do some pretty serious damage to your body. And yet, for some reason, they have this. I think they've gone with the take that this is only the beginning, or rather, this is just what's happened when you were alive. What on earth is death gonna look like for you if that's all you've got going? So, yeah, I must say, I'm struck dumb, if you will. But I also think it's because it was just brought about not only in the best way that Metallica know how, fast and literally to the death, but also because death is only just round the next corner. We're not technically getting into death yet. And pardon me if you will, ladies and gentlemen, but that's... Yeah, did I get it wrong about Death Magnetic? Because I do generally think now, the more... Maybe I did get it wrong when I talked about it the first time. But that was such a long time ago. Honestly, it's surreal. That's what it is. But with all that being said and done, what isn't going to be surreal is what happens when we come back to it. Hopefully hopefully very soon. So with all that being said and done, I will see all of you guys again next time. Thank you.